Morning. I hope you are doing well today. Happy Friday. So today's topic, we are talking about, are your basic needs being met? So if you guys are watching this live with me, please say hello so I can say hi back to you. And then if you're watching on the replay, just hashtag replay and I'll make sure I come on later and say hi to you then. So this topic is a different one for me, but I really feel the need to just talk about it a little bit, and I feel like it will help people from all walks of life and all kind of areas of their lives when we really start to focus on what our basic needs are and if we are meeting any of those right now. But before we get into that, I wanted to share with you guys quickly. If you guys are watching this on Facebook this morning, I would encourage you to head on over to YouTube when this video is done and then hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications for every time that I come live on my YouTube channel, which is Monday to Friday around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my topics are all around really my method of self-love at any size, which kind of encompasses like working on our mindset, our body image, our mindful eating, mindful movement, mystic and holistic practices, and building community, and just all these kind of areas that have really helped me to transform the way that I kind of accept and respect myself. So that's what's on my channel. So I'm just bringing up my video to make sure I can see you guys here and say hello to anyone that is popping on. So let's get into it. So thinking about our world right now, I'll get rid of this. Our world has changed, really, and a lot of us may be feeling sadness. So somebody says hello. I see you there saying hello. It just says Facebook user. Hello, my friend. Oh, this program, it never lets me see the people. Anyway, so a lot of people have moments of sadness, I'm sure, life in general. People go through moments of sadness and seasons of sadness, and that is all part of the human experience. But right now, in the last 2 years, in the state of our world, a lot of people may be feeling the sadness and feeling like a sense of grief and loss around not living the life that we thought we would, or not living the life of freedom and privilege that we have been enjoying previous to now. And so some of that unease that you might be feeling, even if you have, a good job and you are relatively secure, there's just all these other things going on in the background that kind of threats like our health and our finances, and that sadness continues to be felt. And so what I wanted to share with you guys today is just really going over kind of our basic needs and what are some things that we should be trying to meet right now, and then some ideas on what you can do to be able to kind of come from a place of being able to recognize what you can do to kind of feel that your needs are being met if you don't feel that way right now. So the first thing is, what is our basic needs? So our basic needs are like our physiological needs, which is like our breathing, our food, our water, our air. And then we have things like our safety. So like that is like security of our body, of our employment, of our families, of our health, of our property. And then our third kind of basic need is our love and belonging, which is like our friendship and our family and our intimacy with those around us. And then the last kind of basic need has to do with our esteem, which is like our self-esteem, our confidence, the respect that we have for ourselves and others, and how we feel respected. So when we're talking about all those basic needs, so we have to think about, okay, well, am I meeting all those things? And then really, what can I do? What can I do about this if I feel like my needs aren't being met in some of these areas? And so what I wanted to share with you guys is that it all starts with awareness. And that's why a lot of my practices that I help people with really encourage you to pause and reflect. It's easy for us to get caught up in the world that we don't even notice that how much we have been affected by everything that's happening, and that we have all been affected. So awareness really means just pausing, slowing down, sensing, being present to both like your inner and outer worlds. And so our inner world is really where we can be focusing right now, because a lot of our outer world, we don't really have much control over what's happening, and you can feel really helpless. And then, grief comes in, and sadness, and all these really intense feelings. So once we can realize that once we become aware and have that awareness of pausing, slowing down, sensing and being present, then we have more to work with. Once you are able to kind of see things more clearly, there's kind of opportunity to shift things in ways that are more helpful. So the first thing is to really start with acceptance and non-judgment. And so when I say that, it's before we got to think about, before we can jump into solutions, that we kind of pause and check in with how we're feeling, how we're thinking. And if we are having those strong emotions and we're reacting to our world, whether we may be angry, we may be resenting, we may be bemoaning our situation, we're likely to be in a state that includes lots of like non-acceptance and judgment. So when we can practice acceptance and non-judgment, it's kind of like, I loved this analogy that I had seen, where it kind of, imagine it as if like dumping rocks out of your backpack. So it's kind of clearing away that negative thinking that is weighing us down. Because as we continue to have negative thoughts and have all that grief and sadness, that's adding things to that backpack. So it makes us kind of carry all this stuff that we really don't need to be carrying. Because there's so much right now that we have little or no control over. And once we can recognize this and just let it go and kind of bring our energy back to not spend your time complaining about it or trying to fight against it. Really, and I know there's so many different ways we could talk about this, and it's hard to not want to just stand up and fight against all the things that are going on in this world. But to bring ourselves some peace leads me into the second tip of like really starting to focus on what is in your control. So, it's really like the locus of control is so important. And I know I tend to this too. Like when I'm in intense moments of like sadness or grief or whatever, I will turn to what I can control. And I do this really without even realizing. Like I would have impulsively done something and be like, I did that because I was in this state of like I had to control something. And so this is what I knew I could control in this moment. So what we can do to kind of really start to focus on what is in our control is kind of realizing our basic need around security that will kind of feel out of a balance. So we need to focus strongly back to what is in our control. Create certainty where you can. And so how we can do this is in our routines that we do. So practices that ground and center us. So like working on things like your exercise, your sleep, your diet, your mindset, meditation, connection, all these different areas really start to be something that we have control over right now. And it's going to help us to feel a sense of peace. Because I know in the world that we are in right now, it can be often really hard to find that feeling of feeling peaceful, of feeling grounded. And so really coming back to your self-care routines and being able to focus on the things that you know that you can focus on. Making sure you're getting a good sleep at night, making sure that you're eating foods that nourish you, working on your mindset and, really connecting to the self-love piece, which is a really important part of my mission in helping people. So leading into my third tip, which is cultivating connections. So we desperately need to feel like we belong, to be with friends, colleagues, family, or neighbors. Research shows that there are strong social connections are really one of the strongest indicators of health and longevity. So when we're talking about this, regularly and purposely reaching out and connecting with people in your various circles. So whether this be online or in person, wherever you're kind of able to connect with your people, making sure that that's a part of your routines and making a part of your schedule. So that's kind of brings that sense of control too, that what's going to happen. Like, okay, on these days, I'm going to, be on Zoom with this friend and we're going to talk about this, or, I'm going to meet this person for, we're going to have lunch together, or we're going to have coffee, or whatever it is. So just really starting to connect with, cultivate connections, because that is so much of what we are lacking right now. And that's really a basic need that's being taken away from us. So it's really important to reach out and know when you need that. And if you are lacking that, to make sure that you're able to find that in whatever kind of medium that it works best for you. That is, I believe, one of the beauties of online is that if you don't feel like you have connections in your local area, there are so many amazing online communities where you can have that sense of connection virtually, which I know isn't the same, but at least we do have that in moments that we feel like we don't have any other connections. So I feel like that is valuable. So that is kind of the 3 kind of ways I wanted to chat to you guys about how we can start to kind of focus on really connecting to our basic needs and what we can do to kind of live from a place of non-judgment and acceptance, and really focus on what we control. I think is the biggest part. Focusing on your routines and your practices that really help you to feel grounded and safe and secure, and taking care of all those different areas of our lives, like our physical, like all of our self-care, really, right? Like taking care of like your physical self-care, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual, your practical, your personal. Like there's all these different areas that really is how our basic needs are being met, as if we're kind of trying to actively work on balancing that kind of all those different areas, which is not easy, and I understand that, but I think it's super important to realize how important that is, especially in the world that we are in now. So before I pop out of here, you guys, a couple things. Like when I'm talking about the sense of community and connection, and having that kind of focus on what you are in control of. I have an amazing program that I have just launched called the SelfLove Revolution with Martina. And that program takes you through my self-love at any size method, which is 7 key areas of really helping you to transform the way that you show up for life, finding your purpose, showing up for life with confidence, having that kind of acceptance and respect for your body, and just really encompassing all these different things in our lives that really help us to feel like our basic needs are being met. Because self-love is, like I have always said, is kind of the root of everything that we do. And if we don't love ourselves first, then nothing else really comes into balance. So this really is just such a foundational program to allow you to have that base of feeling connected to others by building community, tuning into all of like your kind of embodiment, like through mindful eating, through your mindful movement, through lots of different like spiritual practices in our mystic and holistic side of things, and really just helps you to love and accept yourself. And then when you start to do that, it's amazing how you start to show up for life, and how really you change, like who you are changes in such a way that people may not recognize you when you start to go through this transformation, because the person that you used to be, who may have been in that moment of, or those seasons of self-hate, which I know is where I stemmed from, of really just hating my body, which reflected in everything that I did. It reflected in my relationships with my partner. It reflected in my, relationship with my kids, with my career. Like it affected all the areas. And so I think it's so important to realize that self-love is really where we start our journeys of really start living our lives. And so I see a couple people commenting in here. I'll bring you up. I'm sure I know that this is probably Jill, or because we talked about this just this morning. Community and connection are so huge, and the Self-Love Revolution is amazing. I think it's amazing. I love this program, and it's going to help so many women to just start to really show up unapologetically and just be themselves, and learn to just really, like I said, love themselves from the inside out. Because I could talk about this all day. That is me. Facebook user is Jill. I figured it was you. I don't know why I'm not seeing comments on my other screen here. Oh, technology. Anyway, so that program is 40% off right now, you guys. It is a crazy discount. The amount of support and knowledge that you receive from this program is amazing. Like even just having the weekly group coachings with myself and the 3 group coaching with my kind of super friends. Jill is one of those people. You get like monthly group Reiki sessions, monthly new moon intention setting sessions, and monthly aroma freedom sessions. So it is so much, you guys. Like even just those things alone, I feel are worth it. Like even just the support I've been receiving from these ladies that are in this program with me to help guide people through, it's transformational, and it's what the world needs more of, to be frank. So anyway, enough about that. So before I pop out, you guys, if you are not in my free community already, I have a group called Imperfectly Perfect You, finding self-love at any size. And that's exactly what we do in there. We have lots of group challenges and kind of prompts to help you to start think about where you lie and kind of how you feel about your body, and if you're connected to your body even, because I feel like so much of our lives we are kind of like programmed into stop listening to our bodies. And so really this group is to help you to start to connect back to yourself and just really start to find that self-love for yourself at any size that you are, because, you know, as women, our bodies change over time, and it's just learning to accept and respect yourself through all those stages. And that's when you'll start living life a little differently. So we would love to welcome you into that community. We are starting a mindful eating challenge next week. It's a 5-day mindful eating challenge from November 22nd to 26th. If you are catching this after the fact, then you can always catch that challenge in the guide section. So we are going to be doing 5 days of mindful eating with a mindful eating coaching session in those 5 days as well. So you're receiving lots of amazing free content in that challenge that week. So if that interests you, joining that Imperfectly Perfect community will get you access to that challenge, which there's always prizes and fun stuff in there too. So would love to have you in there if that's something that resonates with you. So I feel like I just spewed out a whole bunch of stuff and I'm always going over time. So I'm going to pop out of here, you guys. I hope you have the best weekend. It is Friday, so we will see you guys on Monday for our video then. So thanks for everybody who tuned in and commented, and I'll be sure to come back and say hi to you in the comments, and we will see you guys next time. Have the